All right, guys, so welcome to another video. So you find me here in my Model 3 Funk in my garage once more. So, before I start any video, I want to thank all my new subscribers, everyone that's liked my video, as well as commented in the sections and, below my videos. I definitely try to, do my best to respond to those. But this is going to be a little different than some of my traditional Tesla videos that I've done recently. So I'm in the process of buying a house, and it's a big deal. I'm in escrow right now. I have about 2 weeks to closing. And because of that, I thought this would be a good opportunity to talk about real estate. So in California, where I live in LA, I'm actually a real estate agent. And I decided to become a real estate agent along with my wife. She has her license as well, because we were in the market for a home. And I was able, luckily, and I'm fortunate to be able to pass the real estate exam on the first try, as well as my wife. And because of that, I figured I would give you guys tips on if you're looking into real estate. Now, real estate is no matter where you are as far as in the United States, the rules are not too different, but there are discrepancies or differences depending on the state that you live in. So this is more for people that live in California, but it's applicable to other states around the country. A lot of the material that you learn, it really you learn it goes across the board no matter what state you're in. So, but specifically, this is more so for California. If anyone that's interested to get into real estate in the future, this is for you guys. All right, guys. So I started this process maybe about a year ago because we were in the market for a home, and I'll tell you why we decided to do this primarily for this home. This is our first home purchase, so we're really excited about this. But there's a specific reason why we decided to jump into real estate at this point in time. So yeah, started this process about a year ago. I needed to find an institution that I can, get the coursework done because you need 3 courses, or you have to complete 3 courses, at least in California. I believe it was the real estate principles, practices, as well as another course. I did finances, real estate finances for that third course. And you have to, pass each class and, get your certificate and send that to the Department of Real Estate, California, in order to be able to take the exam. All right, so I work full time. I recently got my master's about a year ago, but I work enough that I don't necessarily want to go to a school that I'm going to take a lot of time and effort, because I really want been trying to focus more on my full time job at this point in time, just because there's a lot of things going on in my life, and I want to make sure that it's sustainable. So I've been really trying to focus on that full time job as well as doing stuff on the side. But so real estate, what I went into is that for my master's, I did that all online. I was not in person. Granted, it was during COVID, so I really didn't have much of a choice. I had to do it online, but I do pretty well with online coursework. So I decided to pursue a school that, had online as well as in person. So I ultimately decided to do California Real Estate. That's the name of the website that I ended up doing. I did the research, saw how much it cost. It was not overly expensive, only about $350, $400 or so for all the courses. It was very easy. Everything was online. I like that it also gave you the opportunity to choose if you want fully online, a hybrid where it's some portions online, but you have to go in on Saturdays, certain days to get a lecture, as well as going in all the time, for like a normal traditional course. Where the actual location was a little further from my home, and with how traffic is during the week in LA, I did not want to drive. So I decided to pursue the full online because Saturdays and Sundays are typically busy for me as well. So I did it online, and I was able to pass. So me and my wife both joined California Real Estate. My wife is an attorney, so she actually was able to not have to take the courses. So if you have a law license in California, you actually skip the courses, and all you have to do is take the exam. So fortunately for her, she just had to study. So she signed up for the actual website or institution because she wanted to get some practice exams and then just kind of go over some of the coursework. I had signed up for the full, experience with 3 courses. I ordered the books, actual physical copies of the books. So I gave that to my wife as well, so she can kind of review and read as she prepared for the test. So, this video is not, frankly, it's not to suggest that you have to use California real estate. I'm just trying to give you at least what I did and what my wife did, and it worked for us. Not saying it's going to work for everybody, but it did work for us. So this is just more of a suggestion for you guys. There's a lot of different real estate institutions out here in California, so definitely do your own research, choose wisely. But I just want to give you my perspective, what I did. So we joined California Real Estate. What I liked about that actual website was that everything was broken down into the three books for me specifically. So I had three courses I had to take. They give you about 6 months access to the online portal. So each course has about 14, 15 modules that you have to get through. Typically, what I was doing was that I was trying to get through a module each couple of days. Like I was just going through it really quickly to try to speed through it, get through a course within 2 months time frame. I didn't want to go too long because I knew I only had 6 months access. In the end, I actually extended it because I wanted more time to study, but that's a whole nother thing. But anyways, every module had about 15 sections, and so you go through the section, read a chapter in the book. So it went by based on a chapter in the book. Read through the book. At the end of each module, so after chapter, you have a quiz. You have to do the quiz online before you can move on to the next module or module 2, 3, whatever, etc. You have to get at least a 70% or higher on the quiz to move to the next module. So that's a good way to kind of reaffirm, see where you are, that you understand that chapter. And for me, I mean, of course, you can still look at the book while you're going through the quizzes, but I tried my best not to. You could take the quizzes a limited amount of times. And also, they did switch up some of the answers every so often. They didn't do this for every quiz, but sometimes they did switch up the answers to keep it kind of fresh. But you get unlimited time, so you don't have to like be like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna fail and have to redo a lot of stuff. Take the quiz as many times as you want. It's better for you to just understand the content before you move on to the next. So anyway, get through each module, get to module 15. That's so by the time you get to 15, you've already taken about 14 quizzes. That leaves module 15 or whatever it was with the top. Once you get through that, you take a final, and that's the final for the entire book or content of the course. Take that, you have to get a 70% or higher to pass. And that one, I believe, had maybe like 100 questions or something. It was, it was kind of a mixture of a lot of the content from each individual chapter, and it had a good amount of questions on each final. I don't think it was as big as the actual test because that one was 3 hours, but I think it was, maybe like an hour and a half or something along those lines, maybe 100, 150 questions. It wasn't the max, but you still had to get at least a 70%. And it was just a good summary of the overall chapters of the book. So I like the actual how the modules and things were set up. The quizzes, they weren't too hard. You can kind of go at your own pace. And that's good for some people. It's not good for everybody. Some people really need someone banging on their heads and stuff, like saying, you need to do this, do it by this date and stuff. And I understand I used to be the same way. But as I've matured, I've kind of been involved in this, online work for a while. So I've understood that I have to make that time no matter what's going on at work, no matter what's going on in my life. I have to put down and make some time in the office. So what I would do after work, I work an 8, 9 hour day. I would go into the office in our home and just sit there for 2, 3 hours with the content. My wife was very understanding. She knew exactly what I was pursuing because she was doing the same thing. So it was easy, but you have to have a partner that's okay with that because it does take work. It's just like any other school. And you have to make that time and effort. So Saturdays, Sundays, you might want that free time, but make sure you take some time off to get your work done before you have fun, or wake up earlier or go to sleep later. I was going to sleep later because I'm a night person, so I don't really like getting up early. But so anyway, I like the content. I like the website, how it was set up because it had the modules, it had the quizzes. You could take them a limited amount of times. It had the finals for each course. And then, once you get through all the courses, you take three final exams. And yeah, it was cool. So, and I can't stress more than anything is just go at your own pace. Like I said, I had 6 months access to this online portal, and I was really trying my best to stick to that timeline because I didn't know what it meant to kind of extend past that. But make sure you're taking the time just to get that work done. And now that I've done it, I actually had to extend the time anyway because I wanted more time to study for the actual test. So you can always like gain access back to the portal. And I found that out when I needed to gain access. It was only about, 30, $40 or something like that just to gain another 3 months or so access. So just because you may not finish in that 6 months, don't get discouraged. You can always add that access back. Of course, you got to pay more. So you keep that in mind. You got to balance that. How much money are you willing to put on, into this? All right, so the biggest thing that people always ask, and what I was searching for when I was taking the test, is how did you study for the final? So First and foremost, I used all the tools that the California real estate website gave me. So I had did all those quizzes, I did all those final exams, and I had access to the old test records, so I can go in and see exactly what of the questions that I missed. So that was very helpful. Also, um, what happened when I actually finished all the coursework is that they actually opened up a area for final exam preparation or something along those lines, kind of a crash course. And what I did was I reviewed all. It gave you a big document of all the descriptions and definitions that you need to know as you prepare for the exam. So I went through that, had a lot of definitions. That took me about a week to get through, and then after that, it was really about just kind of continuously studying, doing tests, practice tests. That was very essential because you have to understand what type of questions they're going to pose on the test, because sometimes they definitely try to switch you up and it's not the best thing. I did not pass all the practice tests, and that's how I kind of knew that I wasn't ready until I got to a point where I was consistently passing the tests. I was like, I'm going to wait until I and just keep studying and then sign up for the test. So what really helped me was that the website allowed you to take practice tests. You can take them with up to 25 questions, 50 questions, 75, all the way up to about 300 questions. And it tested you on all the big topics that you needed to know as you prepare for the test. So what I did was I started taking that test originally. I took the big test with all 300 or 3 hours long, 300 questions or something along those lines. I did not pass, of course. It was my first time, but I saw exactly what areas that I needed to focus on, what I did the worst on. So if it was finances, I saw that. If it was real estate law or something, I saw that. So I was able to see that that really helped. So then what it allows you to do is when you take the next practice test, if you want to, you can only have questions specifically to that actual subject. So if you only wanted financial questions, you can have or set it up the practice test so it only gave you financial questions. That's what really helped me when I was studying, because I was every subject that I was missing on or doing bad on. And this is not to say that I wasn't passing the test after a while. I started passing them, but I also realized and saw which subjects I was doing the worst at. And those are the ones that I kept trying to kind of get better in. Lastly, I was posing questions with my wife. She created a big flashcard deck of all the definitions. Like I said, I did the crash course. I reviewed the document of all the definitions. So I did go through that, but she gave me a flashcard deck of all different types of questions that she was experiencing because she was going through the same questions. And I was starting to realize that it was certain things I knew more than her and certain things she knew. She really knew law because she's an attorney. So she knew all the real estate law stuff for the most part. She wasn't good at finances. I'm an engineer, so I'm cool with financial stuff for the most part. So I was able to kind of help her, but she added all those to the flashcard deck and I started reviewing that. So that helped. I would suggest if you're a flashcard person, please do that. I'm not even a crazy flashcard person. I haven't used flashcards since I was in college, but it really helped me just kind of grain in some of those areas and definitions that I really need to know. Um, Lastly, use YouTube. I'm doing this video now. Take people recommendations, take their suggestions. Where I'm here trying to help you guys. If please put questions in the description if you have any concerns or anything, or you just want some insight. Let me know. I'm here to help you. I want to help you guys and give you tips to succeed. So I was on YouTube all the time, watching videos of different YouTube, just real estate agents on YouTube, as well as how to study and how to prepare for studying. So there was a lot of videos that helped you with just practice questions. So I was I was going to work sometimes, a video that said 100 real estate exam questions. And I would just listen to it on Bluetooth and just have it go through and I would try to answer it. And depending on how many I went wrong, I may replay it another day and try to see if I can get the right answer. But that was helpful for me. So that. All right, guys. So you find me here on the next day after I recorded that video. So I was going through editing and realized I failed to mention something that was important that I wanted to mention to you guys, and also I specified that I would mention. So you know that all agents get a commission fee or a referral fee, something along those lines. So the home that I'm in escrow for was a new build. So, if you go on a tour of that facility, if you're an agent or you accompany a potential, owner or buyer of that property, you're guaranteed for the most part a referral fee for referring them to that location. So my wife was able to get her real estate license before I was. And, we wanted to make sure that we used our licenses for our side business as well. But In this case, we paid about $400, $500 for um, the course, and to, actually pay for the exam and all that, jazz. But I went to the facility with my wife as the person that's, a potential buyer. And on the paperwork, I listed my wife as my agent in the transaction. And because she was listed as the agent in the transaction and I was the borrower and not the agent for this specific transaction, she was guaranteed or able to get a referral fee. So um, for this particular new construction build, the commission or referral fee was 3%. So, she was able to obtain 3% of the purchase price, which is way more than how much it costs to get the real estate license. So not only we want to use it for our own business, but we also figured, okay, if we do get a new construction build, we can take advantage of that and make sure we can get some money to go towards closing costs or to any items that we may need as far as utilities, or not utilities, but appliances and things of that nature. So wanted to mention that. If you have questions about that, definitely let me know. Just want to give you guys that tip because that is important. It pretty much paid for itself, the license, just because we were able to do that for this one transaction. Not if you even take away just the side gig, the side business of real estate. This was a way for us to just pay for itself because we got way more back in a return just from that one transaction um, than how much it costs to get the license in the first place. So just wanted to mention that. If you guys got questions, definitely leave those in the description section. Back to the regular video. So that's what I did. I just wanted to give you guys some tips on if you are pursuing real estate and have questions or concerns on how to study, what institution or real estate, place to look into for coursework. This is what worked for me. Definitely in this video, I tried to put some, video of some of how things look. But if you have like further questions about this, definitely let me know. And really, do your research, see what works for you. If a hybrid approach works, if online works, going in person works. Now, since COVID is kind of done, you have the opportunity to go online or in person if you would like. Just make sure that you're going somewhere that you can retain the content, and make sure you pace yourself. You don't really have the choice of pacing yourself. You go on in person, and that may be best for a lot of people. Like I said before, some people need that direction to help them succeed. But if you're good at online, it was very flexible for me. I just put in the time on my calendar when I was going to study and set goals. Make sure you set a goal and a time frame and when you want to be done with it so you can actually sign up for the coursework. Keep in mind when you do sign in for the test, um, typically that takes a second for them to approve your application and things of that nature. And you may have to wait 2 weeks to a month or so before they actually give you a scheduled date. So they gave me some options. I think I had the first option was 2 weeks after. I gave myself another month just to kind of keep preparing and taking practice tests because I did not want to take the test over. Also, the test itself, it was 3 hours long. I was able to finish it in 2 hours, but had a lot of questions on it. I think it was 150, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I think when I took it, I skipped about 25 or 30 questions. And then I did all the questions that I knew and that I had a good idea of what the answer was. And then I went back, did that. That's kind of a normal test approach that I learned a long time ago. But if you don't know something and you're wasting time on one question, skip it. And make sure you answer the questions that you know so you can take more time in the end to go over the questions you didn't know. So that's what I want to give you guys today. This is different from some other videos, but if you want any additional content on real estate, I'm probably going to do it anyway. But you got questions for me or anything, or want to know how the house is doing, I'm probably gonna do a video on that once we get everything situated and stuff on how things turned out. But if you have questions for me, definitely let me know. And until the next video, talk to you later.